Hey everyone, it's Kevin here with Divinely Designed, and yeah, you haven't seen me in a while, so I thought I would do a little video, chat a little bit about kind of why I stopped making videos, and if I'm back, what I've been doing, all those things. So, yeah, I had making lots and lots of videos, and mostly around soap making, and that's certainly the my biggest subscriber base was soap makers. Although I do have other crafters. I had branched out and was filming some of my paper crafting videos, card making, mixed media. Even some polymer clay stuff that I've been doing. So I do have other subscribers, although certainly, it all started kind of with making cold processed soap. And I had a store, I had an online store that I was managing it, so I was making all this soap and then selling it online, and honestly I wasn't selling a whole lot, and that was really never my goal. Like, I didn't want to have this big soap making business. Soap making was always a hobby for me, and I ended up having a lot of soap, so I started selling it to get sort of some of that inventory that I had just gone, and then plus the funds that I made from selling soap sort of went back into buying more soap supplies or making video stuff or things like that. So I never made a ton of money off it. I probably actually made more money from my YouTube videos and subscribers watching those than I did from actually selling soap. And toward the end there, I had been wondering, like, do I really want to keep this up? Am I going to do more stuff with soap? And I had thought about sort of branching out into like the craft fair world and start going to farmers markets and things like that and doing kind of a video series on that. But I will tell you kind of what happened. A couple of things happened sort of all at once. One, I was spending a ton of time doing videos, and if you don't make videos for YouTube, you may not know, but a lot of times it can take a lot of time to do that. So sometimes I was spending more time making the videos than I was actually making soap or doing crafting, which is the thing I really loved. So so that was sort of on my mind. I was like spending all this time kind of dealing with the video side of things. And I had all of this sort of soap business stuff going on, and that was taking up a lot of time. Even if you have a small business, there's packaging, there's mailing, there's labeling, there's maintaining the website, there's writing all the content for the website, taking pictures, to load on the website so you can sell all your things. And I had this really tiny business, So for the amount of effort that I was sort of putting into like the business side of things, it just wasn't worth it for me. And I really was just, I really am just sort of a crafter, and I liked making crafts and doing things like that. And sort of at the same time, or very close to, I had been very involved kind of in paper crafting. I hadn't put as many videos on my channel about that, but I've been doing paper crafts for a long time as well. And I sort of got more into the paper craft world and card making. And I had sort of thought, like, where am I going with this, right? Do I want to expand my soap making? Do I want to expand my YouTube videos? Do I want to expand my craftiness? So I had started to apply to a couple of places for being on design teams. And I applied for one and kind of got rejected, and it was no big deal. Like, a lot of people out there, if you see videos on applying to design teams, it just says, keep trying. Like, that may not have been the right time or the right fit, and whatever. So, but then, quite honestly, two things sort of happened, I think, at the same time that sort of discouraged me. One was I had applied to the Heartfelt Creations design team, and I had done a ton of work on that, and I had planned to apply for it for almost a year. I had sort of worked on it, and I know they, as part of their design team, they kind of want to have people who have like a blog presence, right? Well, and I interpret that as more of like a social media presence. So I have a YouTube channel with, 20,000 subscribers, which is fairly good. But I don't know that they are really, or at that time were really into the YouTube people. They were really looking for kind of people that had long-standing blogs. And so I started to create a blog. I had known that, and so a year before I made a blog and was making posts and things like that. And then the design team call finally came out, and I worked really hard at it. And there's, if you know Heartfelt Creations, like they have this sort of process, and so you submit projects, and then they make a semi-final list, and then those semi-finals get voted on by the public as well as Heartfelt Creations, and then they choose their finalist. And so I made it to the semi-finalists, and then I didn't get chosen, and that was sort of very discouraging for me because I really liked Heartfelt Creations. I loved their flowers, and I was really looking kind of forward to that. And again, I hadn't applied to a million different design teams in the past, so this was probably only my third or fourth application. It just sort of was discouraging. And at the same time, I had met the owner of another stamp company, and we had met at a retreat, a scrapbooking retreat. And I took one of her classes, and she approached me, and she was like, "Wow, you're really great. Like your design aesthetic's really cool, and we've been really thinking about expanding." And she asked me to consider doing something with them, and it wasn't even really a design team because they had a design team, but she sort of wanted me to do something different, and I was super excited about that. And we sort of started, and she sent me some products, and I did some videos, and but I felt like I was sort of constantly reaching out to her, and I told her even at one point, like, I don't want to feel like I'm bothering you and I'm annoying you. Like, I don't want to be the one who's sort of constantly doing this if we're going to move forward. And then I just sort of never heard back. And so I assumed that she had changed her mind and whatever, her direction changed or whatever, and no communication. So that was sort of discouraging, and those two things sort of happened very simultaneously, as well as me sort of thinking about getting out of the soap making video portion, right? All of that kind of happened around the same time, and so I just made the decision to stop. The videos were taking a lot of time, and I just wanted to focus on making stuff. So I really stopped making videos, although I didn't stop making soap. I still make soap. Actually, I don't make as much soap, but what I changed my focus to was actually teaching classes. So I teach classes in my home on soap making. And how I do it is, if you are familiar with something called the Buy Nothing Project, and I won't go into that here, go look at it up, but it's kind of like a neighborhood group where you can kind of give things away, but it's a little bit more than that. So what I do is, on that neighborhood website, is every once in a while I post a soap making class, and it's free, and I invite people, a couple of people over from the neighborhood. They come to my home. I have a whole class set up for them. I give them materials, and then we actually make soap together, and they leave with like a little mini loaf of soap, but they get to choose their fragrances and their colors, and I do all that education for them. So I've sort of changed my focus. So I'm still involved in soap making, and just do a lot less actual soap making, more teaching classes. And I still do lots of other crafty things, card making and mixed media and polymer clay and all that stuff. I sort of not stopped doing, I just sort of decreased it. And what had happened a couple years ago was my sewing machine broke. And I've never been a big sewer, but I always have had a couple of small sewing projects over the years. And my sewing machine broke, and I thought, I'm going to get, not a big, expensive, fancy machine, but I'm going to get a new one since this one broke. And so I got a new machine, and it had some embroidery functions in it, and I was like, oh, this is really cool, and so I was excited, and did a whole bunch of sewing projects, and, was doing different sewing things, just being a sort of hobbyist, crafter, kind of person. And somebody said to me, like, you should make a quilt. And I thought, oh, gosh, I've never made a quilt. They seem sort of complicated. I don't know if I'm that kind of an advanced of a sewer, but I tried it, and I was sort of like super hooked, like immediately. So probably for the past 4 years or so, I've been sewing a lot more, and then probably for the last, maybe 3 or so, maybe a little bit less, I've been doing some quilting. And so I really started to get into it more and more. And so that's sort of my passion right now. As I have been progressing in my quilting journey, I've learned more and tried more techniques and kind of got really more into it and started actually learning more about not just putting together the fabric to make a quilt top, but the actual quilting, right? And so I started taking classes and learning how to long arm quilt, and was really excited about that and sort of really interested in the sort of the intersection of technology and quilting, sort of these, you know, this old kind of craft, maker, homemade kind of thing, and now having this sort of very modern technology that we have that can do super fancy designs and all these kind of really cool things. So I was really interested in that and was taking some work up to a shop and renting time on a long arm machine. So yeah, then I decided to actually buy my own long arm, which is kind of crazy, and I think I'm going to do a little bit of a separate video about that, about buying a long arm and doing that. But for this video here, I just sort of wanted to say, hey, I think I'm going to start making some more videos, but my focus is probably going to be on quilting for now, and I don't know that I'm going to spend a ton of time on the video side of things. I'm going to see how that goes, but you know, I sort of missed the teaching aspect. I really like having that back and forth between subscribers and me and people who are asking questions, and I'm learning from the stuff they ask, and I'm able to teach them things that, you know, that I know. So I really like that sort of back and forth at YouTube. So I've been toying around for a little while of restarting my videos, and so I thought, you know, now might be a good time. But I think my focus is going to be quilting. So if you are my original soap subscribers, I hope maybe you'll check out a couple of my videos. I know I have some soapers out there who are serial crafters like me and do lots of other crafts. Yeah, I think that's going to be the focus for a little while. Maybe, you know, I might throw in a couple of other crafty videos now and then, but that's it for now. So just wanted to say, hey, hope you're all well, and drop me a note below and say hi, and look for some of my more upcoming videos on quilting. Okay, that's it, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking with me. Thanks for saying hi. Hope you're all well, and I'll see you all later. Bye.